Ho, 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 and welcome to a Sports Hub, another Sports Hub. This one is the holiday edition, and you know what? Winter season's been rolling, and we're almost 3 weeks into the season, so Ryan and I, we decided that we want to do a little recap. I know it's not too long yet this year in the season, but we want to do a little bit of a recap of the basketball season. So you ready, Ryan?
Yeah, I am.
Well, we're going to talk about 5 things, both girls and boys side, that have caught our eye so far this season. And I think the first thing on the girls side is pretty obvious. It's been the Kearney Catholic girls. They've been downright impressive.
Yeah, they started off the season 6-0, and on defense, they are very feisty and aggressive with that full court press that they put on. It doesn't matter if the girls, the opposing team misses a shot or makes a shot, they implement that press and then they fall back in a 2-3 zone and go from there, and they're averaging 30 steals a game, but it's on the offensive side where it's really caught my eye.
They're undefeated on the season. Their last 2 games, they've dominated Elm Creek, they've dominated Minden, and offensively, they're just so well balanced. I mean, they have so many girls on the team that are capable of putting up double-digit points that you really don't know who is going to be the leading scorer for them, and it's been impressive to watch them this season. Now, the second thing this year that has caught our eye, right in our own backyard again, is Kearney High. They, they're having a good season, but Ryan, what's caught your eye the most with them this year?
The fact that they are struggling offensively. They are struggling to make shots in the key situations, but on Saturday they did have some girls knock down some key shots late in the game, but it's been feast or famine with Skylar Snyder, who is averaging 16 points a game on the year, but the Kearney Bearcats are having a hard time finding other players to score when she's not on the court, and that's what's really caught my eye. But defensively, they're still playing good and not allowing teams to shoot at a very high rate, and they also need to work on their free throws.
Now, do you think there is potential, though, this offense that, they're winning games, it's not the prettiest fashion? Do you think there's potential that they, this is a good thing that they're maybe struggling because they can get much better?
Yeah, there's room for improvement in a lot of areas, and I think they will be well-rounded on the offensive side later in the season, but they will have to have that other player that steps up and to make key shots other than Skylar Snyder, who is getting doubled and triple teamed in a lot of these games. So there are open players, but the girls have to find them. In order to win, that's what you have to do, is find the open player, and they have to be able to knock down those shots.
What's a third thing that has caught your eye this year?
Would be Elm Creek. The Elm Creek girls are, despite losing to Kearney Catholic.
It wasn't pretty, yeah. They lost big to Kearney Catholic. That's been their only loss early in the season, but what about them?
The contrast styles between Kearney and Kearney Catholic and Elm Creek are actually really similar on defense. They like to do the full court press. They cause a lot of turnovers, but it's the scoring duo of Kenzie Dayow and Claire Cornell, who are averaging 16 points a game apiece, which is insane to think about. And the one special thing about Elm Creek is one's a junior, and that's Kenzie Dayow, and the other one's a sophomore in Carly Cornell. So this team will be really good for several years to come.
And Cornell, she's what? Isn't she averaging 11 rebounds per game?
Yes, too. Yeah, she's actually a guard, and they have her listed as a forward, but she's a guard, and she likes it. She's that girl that likes to take it to the hole and call her, have people foul her, and she'll go to the line at least 9-10 times a game. Where Kenzie Dayow is that girl that spots up, if a team's in a zone, she'll find the soft spot in that zone and she'll attack it and attack it. The one thing that they do need to work on, though, is their ball handling and limiting turnovers against bigger teams like Kearney Catholic.
Another thing that has caught our eye has been unfortunate that Minden girls, they are not having the season that they wanted to, and it is what you never want to have happen in sports. It's because injuries have really derailed them. Yeah,
the injuries to Taylor Kessinger, who broke her wrist at, I think, 2 weeks into practice. She's been out for a while, and the outcome or the prognosis on her isn't looking that good for Minden. And the other one is Jenna
Denny.
Yeah, Jenna Denny, their point guard, is the one that the floor general who gets that offense rolling, and they haven't been able to do that this season so far. But they have played some really tough opponents, and I know you saw.
I just saw them this Saturday, and they clearly were missing those two. I wish I could have seen a better matchup with, their 2 best players against Kearney Catholic, because Kearney Catholic pretty much ran them out of the gym, and Kearney Catholic played great, but I really wish I could have seen how good Minden could have been with them. It is very early in the year. There's no update on those injuries, but we hope that the girls are able to come back and Minden can somehow, make it through the season with in the lineup. We really don't know.
And I'm not trying to look ahead or anything yet, but with sub-districts coming around next year in February, they have to win their sub-district in order to make the state tournament, and that's going to be hard to do because Kearney Catholic is in their sub-district this year, so all they have to do is win their sub-district and hope they get Jenna and Taylor back.
Then lastly, Ansley Litchfield, they're having a good start to the season. I want to see them more throughout the second half of the year and once after New Year's comes when the teams start playing more. But Courtney Bailey, she's having a very good year. She's averaging 15 points per game. And for the girls' side, that is, that's the 5 things that have caught our eye in the first 3 weeks of the year. All right, now for the boys' side. There's been plenty of storylines for the boys' side, but we had to trim it down to five things that have caught our eye. First thing, I think it's Trevor McEwen, Lexington forward. Lexington not having the season they envisioned. They're only 2-4. Hoping they get better. But Trevor McEwen, your play has been spectacular so far. You're averaging a double-double, 18 and 10. That's been impressive. The
other impressive thing has been the Kearney boys have come out of the gates. They're 3-1 despite losing to Fremont on Saturday. But the player that's really caught my eye is Austin Murray. And he's averaging 19 points a game, which is absurd. 24 points against Omaha Burke and Millard West, and he's also averaging 10 rebounds a game. But the team as a whole, they have 4 players that are scoring in double figures.
It's early on in the year, we mentioned it, but I don't know if I was ready to admit that I thought, they would catch on to Coach Boronik this quickly and, all of his schemes and everything.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where they like to pass the ball, but it just so happens that your best players are going to score. Right now it's Cannon Coster and Austin Murray, and they have been leading the way for the Bearcats early on in the year.
Another team, undefeated team that's caught our eye this year?
Southern Valley. Southern Valley had lost 4 starters from last year's squad that went 22-5. They made the state tournament and played at a high level, but nobody expected them to be 7-0 this year. And the leading scorer for this year's team is Colton Samuelson, who is averaging just under 17 points a game for the Southern Valley Eagles.
High hopes for them. We'll see if Southern Valley can keep it up. Brady Holtmeyer, I'm sorry, you do not make the top 5 things quite yet. You're going to have a good season this year, but you did impress us by scoring 35 points against Minden this past Saturday. We'll see if that can carry on for the rest of the year. I don't expect you to average 35 points per game, but keep it up, kid. Next thing, what else has caught our eye? Another thing that's caught our eye, the Axtell duo. Axtell's been pretty good.
Axtell has been really good, and I haven't really seen them play, but I do know they have every player on that roster is a senior, so they're a very senior-laden team, and they know how to play well, even though they got blown out by Amherst on Saturday. But Grant, you can speak more about their high-scoring senior duo.
See, I kind of like their duo. Yeah, we talked about a duo on the girls' side with Elm Creek. It's not quite a duo so much for the boys' side over here with who am I talking about now? Axtell, sorry, too many teams I'm thinking about. But Axtell, they got Parker Siss, he's having a very good year, senior, like we said, they're all seniors. Sturgis Hansen, he's the big center down low for them, he's averaging a double-double. Just, they're impressive. I know that they did not play well against Amherst, but when you have all seniors, you're going to likely get into the playoffs since they've been playing together since they've been in 3rd grade, all so young. But yeah, they've caught our eye. That's one of the things for sure.
And then Amherst, even though despite moving up a class,
what more can you say? They're undefeated. They moved up a class.
C2, and they are dominating every team that they play. And what's really impressive is it's not just one player that's doing it. It's every player contributes on that team. It could be Trey Talbenheim, it can be the Eckhout brothers, and Trey Adelong. It's just all those players. They just go up and down the court, and they just dominate every team that they play. Well, that will change though when the sub-districts start later in the season.
They're going to have to face some stiffer competition, but they have passed the C2 level with flying colors thus far. Yeah, Holden Eckhout, he played really, really well against Axtell. Over 20 points, over 10 rebounds. They're not the biggest team, but they play fast, just like in football, and they've been fun to watch so far. Well, you heard it from Ryan, you heard it from me. 5 things that have caught our eye from the boys' side, 5 things that have caught our eye from the girls' side. It's a long, long way until the end of the year still, but hope you keep watching our videos, and you have a happy holidays.
And Happy New Year, too.